Okay, everybody. So today we are going to create a drawing of an open box with a surprise coming out. And as we build this box, you can decide what kind of surprise you want to pop out of your box. So the materials that we need today is a piece of paper, a pencil, an eraser. We will need a piece of, this is a piece of paper towel, or you can use a tissue or a square of toilet tissue. We'll use that to blend in just a moment. And if you don't have a ruler, you can find a small book, you can find the side of an envelope, anything that has a straight line that might help you. Now, you don't have to use a straight line or a straight edge, but since we're making a box, that might be something you're interested in. All right, so let's get started. Now, when I'm drawing, I'm going to draw fairly large because I want to take up a great deal of my paper. And so the first thing that I'm going to do on my paper is near the lower half of the paper, I'm going to draw a large rectangle. So I'm going to be using the edge of this book to make my straight lines. And it does not have to be perfect. We're just drawing. This is a good warm-up drawing for anybody. So I've got a straight line, and I'm going to trace again. Now, this rectangle that I'm making, however big you want the box to be, however wide is how long your lines are going to be, and how tall you want the box to be determines how tall these lines are. So you can customize how you wish. Now, I've gone over and outside of that rectangle, so I'm going to just touch this up a little bit with my eraser. And again, it does not have to be perfect, but we do want a rectangle shape. Now, the second step, we're going to be drawing, this is the front of the box, and we're going to show the sort of the back of the box. And so to do that, I'm going to use my book, and I'm going to make a smaller rectangle sitting on top, almost like it was a cake. Okay, so I want this rectangle, the bottom of it, I want it to touch the top of the large rectangle. And I'm going to trace that top. Now, because this small rectangle is touching, I only had to draw 3 lines. Okay, now this does not look like a box at all. We just don't have enough information yet. Okay, and here within two lines, you're going to see it transform into an open box. So I'm going to trace a straight line that goes from this corner to this corner. So it is a diagonal line. It is both horizontal, which means it goes across, and it's also vertical, which means it goes up and down. There. And then I'm going to do the same thing. If I do it on one side, I'm going to do it on the other. So I'm going to connect those 2 dots. I'm going to lay my book down. And line up those two corners and trace a line. And look at that, we have an open box. Pretty cool. Now we're going to do more to this box. The next thing I'm going to do, I think I want the flaps of the box. You know, if you ever bought, if your parents ever buy anything and it comes delivered, a box, it's got all the flaps that open up. And so let's make this a little bit more realistic with these little lines. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to draw two short lines going diagonal up and away. And in the same direction, this bottom corner, I'm going to draw in the same direction, but it's going to be a little bit longer. Same thing over here, a little bit longer. So I have short line, short line, long line. Now the reason why we have short lines up here and longer lines at the bottom is because this side of the flap is closer to us. So it looks a little bit larger. You know, if we have a regular box, this rectangle and that rectangle, if we were to measure a real box, they would be the same width. But because this side is further away from us, it's going to look higher up on the page and it's going to look smaller. All right, so let's connect those lines, that point to that point. If I do it on this side, I'm going to do it on this other side. Now you don't have to have a book or an envelope, but it does certainly help. So we have these flaps. I think we should add one more flap. Let's just go all out. So this time I'm going to start at this corner and I'm going to draw a line, a diagonal line coming down and away. And I want to come to the opposite point and I'm going to draw a diagonal line down and away. And I want it to be about the same size. And then using my handy dandy straight line, well, it doesn't quite meet, does it? That's okay. It's all right. I can draw what I can, and then I can scoot it over. It's not a big deal. Oh, there we go. That's looking good. Now, this flap of the cardboard box is see-through because I can see part of the side of the box showing through. So I want this to look like it's made of cardboard, like a cardboard box. So I'm going to get rid of that line inside. And I'm going to get rid of the line inside of the lid flap over there. Hey, that's looking pretty darn good. Okay. So, let's make a ground. We need this box to be sitting on something. We don't want it to look like it is floating in outer space. So I'm going to draw a line going across horizontally from that edge over. And if I do it on one side, I'm probably going to do it on the other. Now that looks better. Looks like the cardboard box is possibly sitting on a countertop or a table. Okay. Now, we could be done. We could be done with a box, but we're going to add some shading that I think will make this look better. So here's how we're going to make it shaded. When you have shading, when we shade it with a pencil or crayons or whatever, we want to think about where the light is coming from in our picture. Where's the lamp or the sun? Where is it up here where we can't see? And I'm going to put a little very light circle. I call that a ghost line because it's almost invisible. It's hardly even there. And that's going to tell me that that's where my light is. I'm going to erase that in a minute. But it's good to have a guide, a little bit of a guide to remind me of where this light's going to be. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do, if this light is shining here, down here in the bottom of the box, it's probably going to be a little bit darker. So I'm using my pencil to shade this part, this wall of the box on the inside. Okay. Now, if you want to practice shading, I would encourage you just to make that line right there a little bit darker. And where it meets here, a little bit darker. And gradually go over with your pencil. The more layers you add, the darker it will look. Not too bad. All right. I'm going to, if the light's shining here, it's not going to really be as dark as it is here. There is going to be some shadows down in this bottom corner. Just a little bit. Don't worry if it gets too dark. We can always erase. You can always add, take away. Are you going to make mistakes? Absolutely. You're supposed to. If you're learning, you're trying something new that you've never done before. So of course you're going to make mistakes. Mistakes are evidence that you're trying something that you're not used to. And you do get better. You get better and better each time. All right. I'm going to add some light shading on this. Boop, boop, boop. And I'm going to shade in lightly this part of the box. Now, if I'm going too fast, you can always pause this video if you get outside those lines, it doesn't matter. That's what erasers are for, right? Down here at the bottom, a shade. And if our light is way back here, then this side is going to be away from the light. It's going to be shaded as well. So this part, I'm going to color in with the pencil. Not heavy, just enough to make it a bit darker. Have you thought about what you want peeping out or popping out of the box? Now I had one plan in my mind, and as I've been drawing this box, I've almost changed my mind. It could be anything. It could be a bunch of balloons popping out. It could be a present, or maybe a video game that you've been really wanting. Maybe it's a box of art supplies. I don't know. So I'm going to take my piece of tissue, paper towel, and I'm going to wrap it around my finger and gently, 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 I'm going to brush. Okay? And what that does is it blends. It blends all that graphite from your pencil. It makes the shading softer. And I'm not attacking it, right? I'm gently, gently brushing. Not trying to erase. And then I can always go back with my eraser and clean up any part. That went outside of my box shape. Now down here, I want to add a shadow onto the table or the countertop, because my box is sitting here and it would be creating what's called a cast shadow. So I'm going to put some pencil down here and then get that tissue again and sort of go over it. To blend. Okay? You can add more. You can take away. It's better to add little bits at a time so that it's easier to correct it if it's not exactly what you wanted. Not too shabby. So I've got this really cool box. And I think I want to... I'm going to add something in here. Now I've already drawn this box. I could leave it the way it is. And it's a pretty good 3D cardboard box. Maybe on my box I want something like this end up. Or maybe I add some tape to the corners, like it's gone through the mail. Maybe it got bumped up. Let's put. Now I could have balloons coming out. That could be fun. If I have balloons, and I could have the strings coming down, and it would stop at that line so it looks like they're coming out. I think that's what I'll do. So I'm going to draw a balloon shape. I'm going to do part of a balloon. And I'm going to color it in darker, but I'm going to erase some parts so that it looks like the light is shining off of that balloon. Now, if I just left it as this, it'd be really hard to tell what this is because there's not enough information. So I'm going to draw an upside down egg for my balloon. And I'm going to draw some shapes here for the highlights where the light's shining, and that part will stay white. And the other part of the balloon I can color in. Now, I'm using just a regular pencil today. So all my box and my balloons, it's all black and white and gray. However, if you wanted to color with colored pencil or crayon, you would shade in the balloon with a pencil. You could put some really bright colors in there. But I'm keeping it simple today in case people haven't had a chance to get. There's the bottom there. Let's have a string come out. It stops right there. So now I have some information. I can tell what this is. My brain is going to say, okay, so this is a similar shape to this. This has a highlight and that has a highlight. So it must be that these are the same kind of things. So I'm letting my drawing tell my brain what's in it. Now I drew this shape and I started at a balloon and I ended at a balloon. And that's overlap. This balloon will look like it is in front of that balloon. Draw a little circle, a little triangle. Now I don't want this balloon and this balloon and this balloon to be the same kind of gray. This time I'm going to color very, very lightly. Have you ever seen a black and white picture? Things that are brighter, like yellows, will look light gray, almost white. And darker colors like red and blue and purple, they will be much darker gray Sometimes they'll even look sort of black in a black and white photograph. And I'm going to do one more. Let's see, right. I'm going to do some overlapping. And I'm going to sharpen my pencil. I want to see if I can get this balloon even lighter than that balloon. So I went light and medium and dark, and this one I want to make even lighter. So look how I'm holding my pencil. I'm holding it so far back that I can't push down hard. That's a really neat trick that artists will use because they want to adjust the pressure. Not everything needs to be nice and dark and heavy. Some things you want colored in, but you want to color it in so lightly. Okay. My little circle for the knot. My little triangular blob. I'll draw my line coming down like that, and very lightly. I'm going to color that in. Now this is not too shabby. And this was pretty easy. I could probably draw lots of boxes, even smaller, maybe a page of lots of boxes, and have different surprises coming out. Now what I'm going to do right now is cleaning up my lines. I'm going to make some of these light lines of the box a bit darker so they look like they are really taking up some space. I don't want a weak line. I want it to be bold. I want it to stand out. A bold line, it's going to make it look like it takes up space, that it has some weight. Cardboard boxes have weight and substance. They've got to be strong enough to hold all those packages, those orders and presents. Without falling apart. All right, so I've got a picture of a box of balloons. How would you feel if you opened up a present, a box, and all these balloons started flying out of the box once you lifted the lid or opened the flaps? I think that would be pretty cool. It's like a surprise birthday party in a box. All right. So there we go. Now, if you haven't signed your name, go ahead and do it. And I think that we're done. I hope you enjoyed it.